continue on. It's pretty peaceful out here. Yep. Got a lot of walking. Any person can do a lot of walking in here. Here's a trail you can take down to the bottom. Just trying to think if I want to walk down it. It's pretty wet. Yep, she's pretty slick. Oh. Easy. Come here, it don't rain. Trying to find places to go where it's not so wet. These rocks act like steps. There we go. Made it to the bottom. Here we are at the bottom of the Devil's Gulch. We came from over there. We were just on top of that cliff. And this is where it takes you over to, it takes you on through the Skinwalker Canyon. If you look up, there's the point where Jesse James jumped the canyon, about 10 feet across. But this is the spot. You can see it's not that far apart. Yep, that's where we came from. Mhm. Mhm. We'll stop it here for now. Here we're back. We came from down there. If you go that way, you go up to the bridge. I'm gonna go this way. I'm gonna go around the goats. If you go this way, we'll go to the Devil's Waterfall. Back to the top again. So as you can see, you can walk all the way around this gulch. Got a lot of walking. You can hear the waterfalls in the background. There's a bunch where the creek comes in from the top. It comes down into the valley. You go that way, and it takes you kind of around. So there's all kinds of little trails here that wind up back in the same spot. There's nothing but natural prairie made into a city park. The actual town of Garrettson was created and founded back in the early 1900s, 1920s, 1930s. The actual town up here was called Palisade, which is a small little community right where Palisade State Park is. They actually moved the town to the present location of Garrettson in the 1930s. So that's Palisade State Park is pretty much named after Palisade Town. You got some more rock steps to climb up of. Keep in mind this is going east. We're going east. Garrettson will be looking that way. We're on the eastern part of the Devil's Creek. There's another little lookout spot you can come to. I don't want to get too close, it's kind of wet. There's a good view of the waterfalls, Devil's Creek. They call them Devil's Waterfalls. That's a bridge that goes over that canyon. We'll end up there. That little stream there drains into the Devil's Creek, which is right here, right below us. And Devil's Creek flows into the Splitrock. So basically that's just another stream that empties out into another creek. When we get to that bridge, we cross that bridge, we're right back to that takes you to the east side of the park. It's a good view. So you got Devil's Falls, and that little stream empties out in Devil's Creek, which is followed at the bottom of this little canyon. That's where you probably don't want to get caught swimming. You see, it's a bottomless pit. Kind of warm today. It's probably about roughly 65, 70 degrees out. This is June 21st. I've been here since June 19th, Thursday night. The first night I just basically relaxed and camped out. Friday night, kind of just relaxed. You can do a lot of walking in here. Kind of imagine this is what it looked like back when you read the stories of Little House on the Prairie, all the prairie. Just think back then, this is what they had to do. This was their playtime. Didn't have toy cars and cars back then. The girls had dolls. They played house. Boys just went out and played hide and seek in the fields. Didn't have all the material items we do today. You can do a lot. A kid growing up in the 1800s could do a lot of playing in these little fields. Jesse James would have come through here roughly about 1880, before this was a town. I'd imagine Palisades Palisades town was a growing community up until about 1920. Little walking trail. It takes you up into the table flats, what Lower Ingalls would call the high ground. This is only about roughly 10 miles north of Sioux Falls. Makes you wonder if Lower Ingalls even came this far south. So you probably would have come through Sioux Falls a time or two. Everything's so wet around here. There's a little walking bridge, little wooden bridge. And there you go. There's where Devil's Creek starts. I imagine at one point this probably was a waterfall. Probably a natural spring. This would be a natural spring. Water coming out from below. It would bubble to the surface. And the stream down there is most likely a waterfall at one point. If you continue to look down, there's Devil's Creek. Basically just starts out with a natural spring. That's pretty much all this creek is a natural spring. I suppose over time, this little spring dried up. I guess you can be like Moses and take your rod and hit a rock and it'll probably make water come up. We're talking probably 100 years, 120 years, 150 years. This has probably been sitting dry. I would imagine, just like Devil's Falls, this would have tons of water coming through it. You can sit here all day and just kind of relax. Yep. At this point, we come from the campground along Splitrock Creek. We crossed over underneath the train bridge. You gotta be real careful when you cross that little trail by the train bridge. It's kind of muddy. It's right next to the creek, and when it floods, the trail you pretty much you can very easily step off into the creek. But this is it. We're at pretty much the halfway point here. Continue on. We're now beyond the, I guess we'd be on the southeastern side of the creek. The whole time you can hear the falls. So there it is. Really, that's probably one of the original sources of the water. Right in here in these trees. It's kind of fun when you go out in the middle of nature. Look out in the grasslands. You can see where the springs are, and those springs start as little streams. Those streams turn into brooks. The brooks turn into creeks, and the creeks drain into turn into rivers. All from a little water source called a spring. That's kind of what I like about nature so much, is you can get out in the middle of nowhere and just go out and explore. That's all I'm really doing. Kind of filming as I'm walking, so doing two things at once. Remember, if I take this way down, that takes you to that bridge. I want to stop it for a second. I'm going to have to jump down this. I've done it before. I've gone that way. And if you really want to, you can walk down there and you can cross on foot across the stream. You go down that way. I'm not going to do it today. There's probably a lot more water. You can walk from up there. It just takes you down there by the stream where I've crossed on foot across the stream down in there. But with all the rain we got, I'm just going to cross at the bridge. But you could actually walk all the way around here, walk across the stream, come out the other side. You'll come right back to this area here. So I'm gonna come back across the bridge. But if you really want to, you can walk across, continue on, walk down into the canyon, cross where those rapids are, and walk across the stream. But I don't feel that ambitious to do. I'm just gonna stop here. You see the length of this document. This video is only about 20 minutes so far. In 20 minutes we came in here. There we go. There's the creek. This creek starts at a spring just on the eastern side of Garrettson. It drains out through these rocks, forming the waterfall. Drains into this canyon. And there we were just up top by those trees. We were just up top there. That's where we were. Now we're looking back the other way, down in this little ravine. They say it's a bottomless pit in some places. You don't want to fall in here. But this little creek here empties out into Devil's Creek. And we were just walking across that bridge. If we go to the right, we'll walk across that bridge where we just were. Go to the left, we go towards Splitrock Creek. You walk all the way around Devil's Creek. Yep, there we go. So if you walk all the way around, you can walk out across those rocks you see in the distance. Come up around these rocks here, you just come right back to here. It's not deep up there. You can do it if you really want to, but I don't feel like doing it today. Look. I've walked this path before. Came back along this way, so on a hot summer day, it's nothing to do. You can go down, you can go back up, you can go that way and go across the creek. I want to go up here. This takes you to the parking lot for Devil's Gulch. What would be Devil's Gulch Park now. So we walked pretty much completely around Devil's Creek. You see the sign says Devil's Falls. We already know that. Just give you a feel of where we are. There's where we were on the bridge. And here's Devil's. That canyon drains out into Devil's Creek. You get all kinds of places where you can kind of hang out and just kind of relax. You can sit on top of these rocks all day and just kind of relax and read a book or be quiet. So that's a trip along the west side. Now we're back on the south side of the canyon. I've been putting new benches in this park. Right there. I can see why they put this bench right here. There's a good view of the creek coming into Devil's Creek. That's not Devil's Creek. That's just a small little creek that feeds Devil's Creek. Right below the bridge is the waterfalls. You can actually walk across that little creek. It's not that deep. You can see the rocks. I walked across it. With all the rain we got, it's a little more water than I like. So I chose not to go across it today. But a person could actually walk across it. Even now, you probably could walk across that little creek. It's not that deep. Stay along the rocks. It's probably only up in there. It's probably only maybe a foot deep, 2 feet deep with the water, extra water. All this little road does is take you down the Jesse James jump bridge. Well, we already seen that part from below. We're going to look at it from the top. Devil's Ford. I'm not sure what this is. Never walked this way. Probably just takes you around. Probably a trail that goes around the creek. Go over there once. I didn't really realize this little trail was over here. It's most likely just a trail that goes around the creek. So must be a nature trail. Devil's Ford. Probably just a trail that takes you around the creek. If I'm correct, this is probably going to take you down to the creek. If it does, I'm not going to crawl. I'm just going to go look. Yep. It takes you to the creek. Yeah, yes. At this point, you can walk across. That's right. I might have walked across this at one time. It just takes you down to the creek bed. You can actually walk across it. So and it takes you up around side where we just were, where I told you where you can walk across around the creek. So if you walk across the creek, you just walk up this hill, and it takes you right back to where we just were. So yes, you do a lot of walking in this little park. Small park, but a lot of walking. If you look out, every now and then you see a turkey. Took me 20 minutes to get to this point. Usually what I do, I walk from the campground, I walk to this point, and then I walk around to the town, the gravel road, back to the park. So you can walk all the way around this place, back to your campsite. Never have to drive. First time I came here was probably in the early 90s. I believe, if I remember right, my dad came up here, I think on our way to Houston Speedway. We came up to Garrettson for a family picnic. Then I think he brought us here. He would have had a truck and trailer. We pulled around this loop, parked up there. I think that was the first time I ever seen Devil's Gulch. It must have been in about 1992, 93. But here we are. We would be at the beginning of Devil's Gulch. The two parks kind of form one park. Devil's Gulch is one park, and you got the Splitrock Park on the east side, on the eastern side. Right straight below is the creek. I'm going to stop it here for now. I'll start it when I get to the bridge.